What's going on, Mad Hatters, and welcome back to the second episode of the HatterCast. All right, that is the HatterCast. We added in the comments. I don't know if the rest of you guys read the comments, but some people are thinking it's the HaterCast. So we'll set the record straight. Besides Shane, this is the HatterCast, okay? Even if he is the only other one wearing a hat. But, ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am. Cody Meyer, the lead hatter, the king of the hatters, I think you could say. But you guys have met Paul. But again, in case you forgot, Paul, take us away.
Hey, I'm Paul. I'm back. I didn't get kicked out because I wasn't wearing the shirt. Cody let me back. Um, and yeah, happy to be back talking about DLC stuff today.
Yes, talking about DLC stuff today, and that is the goal. That's what we're going to focus on this time. Last week was set champs, this week DLC, and we'll share some deck lists and then even some other things. But we also have two new people joining us. We'll go with the other Mad Hatter that is in the bottom right. And so Kyle, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Kyle Reese, and also go by Zoogles, Soggles, Zoogies, whatever you want to call me is fine. I'm just a guy that likes to do off-meta shenanigans the whole time, and I like to have fun. And first and foremost, and then I also am very competitive. So, yeah, definitely I'm an off-meta specialist. So.
All right, and last but certainly not least, right? Shane, introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Shane. I think Cody found me on the street somewhere and was like, "Hey, you want to be on this?" So here I am.
Here he is. So, fun fact of our local meta, Shane is the only one that's actually made top 64, right? Or did you make top 32?
39th.
39th place. All right.
39th.
Yeah, at Milwaukee. Some of you might recognize him if you really watch the DLC streams. He is the one that forced R&B to daisy flip, I believe, 3 Strength of a Raging Fires. So we got to see that wonderful R&B smile on that stream. But yeah, no, it's so this is our cast. You'll notice Shane is not a Mad Hatter. He's actually representing Team Incognito, and his background image is actually their Lord and Savior. So why don't you just introduce him just for funsies?
So this is Royce. He's our dog specialist. All he does is play dogs, and I mean any deck he wants to play, he plays it great. But a lot of people know this guy. It's like the best picture we have of him. So yeah.
So yeah, Royce is with us in spirit. He doesn't know it yet, but he's gonna find out real quick.
He's gonna find out.
He's gonna find out. Yeah.
But yeah, random teaser. Royce is actually going to be on the channel here in a couple days. He's coaching me through some dog gameplay because much like Shane, I am also not smart enough to play dogs effectively. So,
Nope.
But with all that being said, we'll jump into it real quick because this one's going to be kind of interesting. We've got, of course, like I said, we've got deck lists. We've got 3 of us sharing deck lists that we kind of run at a DLC. But we've also got some opinions. Shane's going to share some opinions about DLCs because, spoiler, he's not sharing a deck list for this video for a very particular reasons, and we'll get into that. So we'll get a little spicy talk about just kind of the meta in general. But with that being said, let's talk about the meta. So the first thing I want to pull up is the Inkdex Matrix, and you guys if have been watching my video know that I'm a big fan of it because it's the only way we have to track what the meta is in the game. Yes, we have ways to test, but again, that's testing in a way that people can kind of just play whatever they want because they're bored and have 5 minutes. So Inkdex Matrix, looking at the tournaments, what they're doing, how they're performing, and that's what we have pulled up. And looking at it, does this, I guess, well, I'll turn it over to you guys. Is for any of you guys seeing this matrix, seeing what the meta is and what's performing well, does it impact what you guys are looking at taking to a DLC?
Not really.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I'm not as good of a player as these two. Paul's been teaching me a lot growing up in this space, and so I build my decks to try to perform and target a certain thing. And if I miss it, I miss it. But at the same time, like my deck helps me win the games, right? So to help me with the lack of experience that I have.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I look at these things week by week, month by month, um, just to try and figure out like where the meta is, where it's going, looking up like recent results and stuff. And I mean, what you see here, I mean, yeah, this is pretty much the meta we're gonna be in for the DLC. Dogs is probably by far and away the best deck right now, but there's some other contenders that are coming up the board for sure.
Yeah, I think for me the win rate matrix it definitely has to influence you a little bit, but when I say it doesn't necessarily affect my decision. I'm talking more, I'm trying to be locked in on a deck, you know, ideally like 2 weeks out. I want to know at least the color pairing I'm playing. Famously, everyone who knows me knows I've been all over the place with decks I'm playing. I talked about dogs last week. I'm talking about a different list this week. Um, and maybe some of that is like influenced in a way by the win rate matrices and just kind of word of mouth, people saying, oh well, this deck beats this deck but it can't beat that deck. So all of that you definitely do have to factor in into your decision making. Absolutely.
I'm also trying to get you to play Blue Steel, so that also doesn't help.
Yeah. If Kyle had it his way, everyone and their mother would be playing Blue Steel. Doesn't
Yes.
have to
So
be the
flexible. I
same
have, like-
style, but
Yeah.
It's so flexible. I have like 7 different decks. It's so flexible. I love it.
yeah, I agree. So like Shane, I'm the same. I'm a lot of the same as you, right? A lot of the reason I do a meta review video every week is because I thoroughly enjoy trying to dissect the meta, and because it does paint a picture, whether you're competitive or not. If you're going to a DLC, most people aren't just picking their favorite pet deck and then not looking at something like this. And it paints a picture, right? You look at the very top row, the most played deck this set is Amethyst Steel. And so even if its best win percentage is 56% against green, purple, it says control. But that's the tempo version. So not Brainiac. So, but you've got to look at that and be like, man, that deck's fair. Like that deck it's not high rolling anything, but it's not really losing to a whole lot. And you look at Blurple at 42% is the worst. And part of you's got to think like, man, am I making the right decision just not taking this deck, right? If I don't get blown out by anything, because then you look at green blue and it has a 28% win rate into dogs, and it's like, well, what happens when I make it to day 2 and everyone's on dogs? So I don't know. Shane, I'll use you because you went to the DLC with Amber Steel aggro, and the two the top decks were Blurple and Purple Steel by a massive margin of amount of times played at a tournament. So you took a deck that was all intents and purposes an underperformer, right? And not as popular as these other ones. So why'd you go that route when the other decks were being played so much more? Or how would you take that information into this event?
Yeah, so if we go back to like Milwaukee leading into that event, I played a lot of Amber Steel, right? And Blurple and the Purple Steel, they were like kind of neck and neck with each other in the meta. But Blurple was becoming the clear cut best deck, favorite deck. To the point where it was like, okay, well, I can just play this deck that counters the best deck. And then, like, I have enough reps against the other deck that I know exactly what I need to look for in that Purple Steel matchup to try and win those. And, I mean, lost one of them day 2, but I beat 2 other ones on day 1 and then played against the expected meta, right? And I did very well in the event. So sometimes you're either playing the best deck or you're playing the deck that beats the best deck, and then you're hoping for the right matchups to land in your rounds.
Yeah. I mean, that's true, right? And that brings up a really good point, because we look at dogs, right? Dogs 58%, it has the highest overall win rate of any deck, and the deck that performs best into it going to be purple steel and red purple. And we were kind of talking about this on Sunday with a couple people at Born to Game, in that red purple, it's doing reasonably well. But again, I think that, when you see such a low amount of matches being played, but the deck doing really well into some of these matches, I mean, I guess for you, Paul or Kyle, what kind of picture does that paint, you think?
I think it just means that really good players, really good red-purple players, or, low amount of matches, that means really good players who are good with that deck are playing that deck, and they're successful with it. Now, what I will say about red-purple is that's one of those, if you look at the matrix, it's a list that it beats the best deck in format.
Mm-hmm.
50-50, but also doesn't really lose or get blown out by anything either. And I do actually think it's interesting that red purple does have a tick higher of a percentage than purple steel.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about it a little bit more throughout this episode, but when you're looking at a list to bring, those small little margins, especially if you see data like, red purple can beat both purple steel and dogs, that absolutely has to be considered.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna do a hot take. I think red purple is the best deck in the meta. You probably don't agree with me. Or
we're doing
like
hot
that.
takes already.
Yeah, already. I already think it's the best one in the meta. Look, it has the most adaptability. It has the ability to go underneath all the control decks. It has the ability to take on aggro decks. It has all the different versatile tools. You just have to be a good player to navigate it, a good pilot. That's it. That's why I'm not playing it, because I'm not a good player. So I need to be able to have a deck.
Don't say that.
Yeah, okay. I'm a good player, not a great player. But so I'm gonna go ahead and 6-7.
6-7.
But I'm gonna go ahead and play the 6-7 deck, right? The blue steel, because I believe I can take out red purple and purple steel and the dogs with my blue steel. And we'll see my list in a minute, but I'm going after those decks.
All right.
I think we just got our title. Red purple best deck.
Yeah.
What's really, spoiler alert, none of us are showcasing red purple today. So
I came close. I can't. It was back and forth. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But...
and it's interesting, right? Because on paper, purple steel is being the most played deck and being so fair. Like, I personally consider purple steel to be the best deck in the format, just because like it has no bad matchup, and for that reason alone, it's that safe deck. Now, what I hate purple steel, it's probably my least favorite deck that I've ever played in Lorcana. I just do not enjoy the play style at all, but I could understand why someone would run it, especially if you do enjoy tempo or never high rolling, or some being a top deck god and top decking all the docks in the world. But so it's just really, I don't know, these things are really interesting, because the other part of me is like, if I'm playing a deck and I have these high goals of making day 2, history analytics has shown us that dogs has the best conversion rate next to red purple for going, for doing well. And so it's like, well, do I really want to play if I'm trying to do really well, do I want to play a deck that does not have at least a 50% win rate into dogs, right? And when you look at that, it's like there's not a lot to choose from, but red purple is one of them. So it's interesting, though. I don't know. I think sometimes you can definitely get a paralysis by analysis if you look at this. So at some point, you just have to lock it down and be like, this is the deck I'm playing, and kind of move on.
But I also think purple steel is an easier deck to pilot, and that's why it's having better percentages. I really think red purple is a harder deck to pilot, in my honest opinion, because you have to make the decisions, and every game's a battle. Every game's winnable. Every game's a battle, and you have to have the mental fortitude to keep pushing through every single match. Whereas you have a game plan with purple steel, this is how you do it. You go your tempo, 1, 2, 3, boom. It didn't happen. So I mean, I feel like it's an easier deck to pilot. It's less mental on your head, and if you want to go, if you're picking between the two, if you are player like me, you probably want to pick purple steel than red purple, just because it's a little bit easier to pilot.
Oh no, I can already, this is gonna go live, and there's members of the flower farm that are just going to
They're
absolutely
gonna hate this episode.
destroy me. Like, they're gonna be like, "Who was that guy?" I'm not, it's gonna be fun, but in
Purple Steel easy.
Look, this is opinion of someone that's never won a set champs, by the way. So I
So-
have no street cred whatsoever.
there's
So I'm just hot take all the way.
now I have multiple titles to choose from. Red purple best deck, Shane purple steel the easiest deck in the format, all the thumbnails.
Easy.
Yeah, easy. So but that's the messages I'm gonna get. Anyways, that's my problem. So this is again, shout out to Inkdex, right? Thank you, because this is all we got, right? Of course, there is another way to get it, but I mean, even the owner, right, doesn't want creators to make content from that, because he also understands that it's not a true representation. And so Inkdex, without you, we just wouldn't have it, right? So huge thanks. But we did want to talk about deck lists. So we're going to switch it over. I'm going to turn this off, and I'll kind of take the lead, and we'll talk about mine. And yeah, because it has a couple things to talk about. So first off, I've got Blue Steel Kiwi up on the board, and this may come to a surprise for a lot of people, and that's kind of the point. And because mostly what I've played this entire set is a bunch of green purple Brainiac, and because I really enjoy the deck. In my opinion, it's the most enjoyable deck of the set. It's difficult, it makes my mind work, and it's only, in my opinion, its only bad matchup is dogs, and unfortunately it has about a 2% win rate into dogs. So that feels pretty bad. And when I look...
Zero.
I've won some games against dogs, okay? Now, I don't know if I've won a match, but I've won some... So I guess you could say, 0% win rate. And so that feels really bad, right? And yeah, like Royce. Royce is a big bully because no one was on dogs in our local meta except for Royce. And now, because Royce keeps running me over and running over other people, now we have like 8 dog players, and it's a horrible place. So... But with that being
better too, and they're getting good too.
They are getting better.
Dogs, they're getting better at it too.
They are. So if I can't go to the DLC, I'll be at Disney World. I'll be running. I'll be doing the Dopey Challenge for all of you that know what that is. But if I was going, I would be torn between running green purple Brainiac or Kiwi, and that's on the screen. And there's a couple things to think about with green purple. One thing to think about with green purple is those that do know me, and it's not a lot of people, right? Like I'm not Lorcana Goons. I'm not, all of us Harlan. I can't think of content creators now for whatever reason. Baker. But I do wear this bright pink shirt that says my name on it, and I wear this goofy hat. So it's noticed, right?
That's a Stitch hat. That's a Stitch hat.
Oh, I forgot. Dang it.
You said,
so,
wrong Disney character.
Disney character. But so a lot of people, they're not going to alter blind against me, right? If they do know who I am. And so that's part of it. And the other thing is, if I was to make day 2, the odds of running into dogs is going to be really high. I could probably dodge dogs all of day 1, but they're going to convert well to day 2. So that leads me to Blue Steel Kiwi. And shout out to Harlan, C. Griffs in the Discord, because he's the reason I have Anna's in here all of a sudden. And the deck has felt really good. And why it's felt really good is because a lot of what Kyle said about red purple, in that this deck can go under things really well, and that's what it's looking at doing, but it also has a little bit of the mid-rangey ability with cards like Goliath or Jafar to kind of slow things down. So my list in particular, it has the hero package with the Basils and the Annas. So now my one thing I noticed in testing is that I was missing the Ichabods, the Ichabod cranes, or the Nalas. So I just wanted one more thing, and Ana kind of fit in there really well. And that's the idea I got from Griff's. So we added that hero package, but then the Jafar has felt great into red purple as well as purple steel. Like Jafar has made red purple feel like 100% win rate. It really has, because yes, Headless Horseman is a great card, but if I set up a bodyguard and then I set up an Alice, and then Alice gives war to Jafar, they can't Headless Horseman my Jafar now, and then they can't challenge into my bodyguard because of Jafar's ability. So if I get those cards down and I be patient, I quest out from underneath them because of cards like, Nala, Ichabod, and all those others. And then of course fire the cannons, because I hate Iago. So I love Iago hate, and it also answers Rafiki's and Captain Hooks and Basil's for Blurple, and it answers Clarabelle, Baby Clarabelle for green blue. So the decks just felt good. I've enjoyed it. I love throwing down a Gantu and giving it ward and questing for 4. So yeah, it's just felt good. I've enjoyed it. Shane, I'll kind of throw it over to you real quick. I know Kyle's the big blue steel lover here, but you kind of mentioned something about Kiwi for a moment there. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this deck just got second at what was it, a CCQ or something, or
I think it was a
Yeah.
CCQ.
I don't know. There's like 100 some players in it, right? So like decent size event there. I want to say it lost to Dogs in the finals, if I remember correctly. But like,
yeah,
it's a pretty interesting deck, right? It wasn't something that was even on my radar. I remember going through those decks and I just saw Blue Steel, and I'm like, huh, that's weird. Blue Steel sucked recently. Well, we're just gonna skip over this and go to the next one. And then I went back at it and I looked at it a few days ago. I'm like, this ain't the Blue Steel I'm thinking of. Where's all the Cinderella and Ramp stuff? No, it wasn't there. So it's definitely an interesting take on it. I don't know how necessary the Jafars are in here, but 0-7 Jafar quest for 2,
100%.
cool effect. Look,
100% necessary.
you got me sold, right? So it's a pretty interesting deck. May or may not be looking at something similar to this, but yeah, no, I like it.
Yeah, it's the Jafars are 100% necessary, just because things that can't challenge under 4 cost 4 less. That means Hercules can't challenge. You know what I mean? That means you basically negate almost all the challenging power that the people are having early on, and you basically can swing back into people when you need to. It's a Challenger 7, like it's super strong, and like one of the things that are great about this list is you have ramp in this list, believe it or not, with Ichabod Crane. So there's he's also a hero. So there you can also get that with Alice is also a hero. So Anna, then into Alice. Now you're questing for 2. As well as with this list, you have someone brought my attention to the bodyguards, right? Where you play your Alice, then your next turn is a bodyguard. Turn the bodyguard sideways. You quest with Alice. You ward the bodyguard. Now they have to challenge the bodyguard. So you're at least getting a 2-for-1 for Pluto, right? So it's pretty interesting, and it's gonna be hard to beat.
Yeah, I think this list is similar playstyle actually to pre-rotation Kiwi. It's got a lot of the same cards in it. You're doing the similar things. You don't have the card draw engine in a pre-Hiram Band world. You don't have the turn 1 bell, but you have the play line that that deck was trying to do, and this deck is trying to do. You have the turn 3 Alice into the turn 4 bodyguard, but now you get Headless Horseman, which is just, in my opinion, I think it's a better card than Pluto. But you have 8 bodyguards on turn 4. That just puts in so much work against so much of this meta. The only thing that it really doesn't stop is the Prince Philip combo. But this deck just goes so fast that you can get underneath that, which is what I like. And the 2 Goliath in here, or for Goliath in here, I think is a great shout out. It's inkable. You don't always have to play the Goliath. You don't always want to play the Goliath into every matchup, but just being able to refill your hand again 8 ways with the Doc and the Goliath just brings you have more reps on this than any of us here. So you can speak to the consistency of the card draw. How important is that for this list?
Yeah, I mean it's felt great. Like Goliath against the blue decks feels wonderful because like they're ramping for you. Ichabod Crane, I've never been so excited for Calhoun to take out one of my characters before. Like it just feels so good when they're like, I'm gonna gain 2 lore. How silly of you to turn sideways. It's like, well, thank you very much. Here's my bodyguard now that you gave me for free or whatever I need. And it's just so the card draw, it gets me closer to Goliath if I need it. But it being inkable is massive. And so that's just been a huge thing. You know, one thing is the list, I think the one that took second and Harlan's list, they were both on Lexingtons and Black Herons. And I was also on Black Herons. Some of the guys saw it right about an hour or two ago. And I just cut them completely. It felt good into dogs. And because I hate dogs so much, maybe that's the way to go. But instead, I included the Fire of the Cannons to at least slow down dogs a little bit. Because if I can go Nala into Alice or a bodyguard, there's a chance I can race them. So that's what led me to going to 4 Nalas. And I think the list that took second was on 2 Nalas. So I kind of just took out all the tradability and said, let me go this aggro, mid-rangey aggro type thing, and it's felt good. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. It has steel, which I love, and it's not amber, but you know, sapphire's fine for a second rate, you know, color. But
oh my goodness, I made an amazing steel song with blue, man, and I love it in Infinity. But that's the other thing I tried to convince you to keep Lexington in because to be able to swing into the genies. But I see what you're trying to do. And you would have to lose John Silver, which John Silver allows you to stop them from challenging you and allow you to keep questing with those Nalos. So I understand it, and you're going more aggro and trying to go underneath everyone. So you know, it should
just
work.
Want to shout out to this list. Kind of feels similar to the Diggy Diggy Hole lists from that were popular, you know, set 5, set 6 into set 7 a little bit. It feels like a mashup of Kiwi and Diggy Diggy Hole, but it's the same goal. You play out a very aggressive early curve, and then you just try to eke out that little bit of lore. And that's why I think 4 Pete is just, you need it, because Under the Sea is the other card that obviously absolutely just wrecks most of this list. Yeah. So 4 Pete, just to stop the Emerald board wipe packages, I think is absolutely massive.
Yeah. So yeah, I've enjoyed it, you know, but yeah, so it's been a fun one. I talk about it. I have a video going live tomorrow, and I talk about this list a little bit more in that video. But I guess I say tomorrow, but this video won't go live till Wednesday, so yesterday. But you guys get it. But let's talk about another list. We're not going to jump to you, Kyle, yet, because spoiler, Kyle is talking about Blue Steel because that's who he is. He's just a Blue Steel guy. So we'll go ahead. We'll jump over to Paul, and then I think we'll end. We'll go Paul, Kyle, and then we'll end with Shane because he has some pretty interesting things to say about this one and his kind of how he's prepping for the DLC. So with that, Paul, what do you got for us?
So, for this podcast, I was between 2 lists. This Emerald Sapphire list that I'm going to talk about, and a red purple, a ruby amethyst list. But I decided to talk about the list that I think I'm going to play in Richmond. And I just want to give a shout out to one of Shane's incognito teammates, Najee, because this is his exact 60 that I've been also testing, and it feels really good. The reason why I think I'm leaning towards this over red purple or dogs is because dogs is a list that can be very mentally taxing, as can red purple, whereas this list, it's it's a pretty straightforward game plan. you know, here's exactly what I have to look for every turn. These are my exact outs that I need. Can I find it? If yes, I can win the game. If not, nope, we probably got to go to the next game, or I just lose. Um, this list can do a lot of different things. It's got the 2 board wipes, right, with the Prince Philip combo and the Under the Sea. Um, it can also um, handle Sapphire Mirrors very well, which is something I like because I expect to see a good amount of Blurple. I expect to see a lot of opposing Emerald Sapphire, a lot of Sapphire Steel, perhaps. Although I think, Cody, your version of Sapphire Steel, this list would not be good into. Like, you absolutely just need to find the combos. Otherwise, and even then, your Sapphire Steel list is probably going to get to 14 or 15 lore before a green blue can do anything about it. But I just want to shout out some of the card counts. Like, people might ask why only 3 of the little Prince Philip, because that was something that I like more at 4. But in testing, you don't always want to see your baby 3-drop Prince Philip. Yes, it's good late game, has ward, right, can't be interacted with, but there's a lot of times where there's certain turns where you want to just like double ramp to get to your big combo. So it can be awkward to find a time to play down the baby Prince Philip. Against dogs, absolutely, absolutely, you just need to slam down that baby Prince Philip to threaten the MMS Prince Philip combo line. But otherwise, there's a lot of different things you want to be doing rather than playing down the three cost Prince Philip. The other card people will ask about is probably the Improvise. Improvise has just been really good in testing. You can pop like an opposing Palace guard on turn 1. You can cycle, right? So it's kind of like a 4th and 5th copy of Develop Your Brain. So I think Improvise has a lot of different use cases to where it's a great shout out in blue-green lists. And then I'm laughing already because this list runs 1 copy of Bend to My Will, which is a card that anyone who knows me knows that I have gone on some pretty epic crash outs because of this card. The one caveat I will say is I think Bend to My Will felt way more unfair last format, where it was a lot easier to you could get that Clarabelle, You're Welcome line, send 8 cards back to hand and then Bend to My Will. This format, it feels a little bit more fair. There's more cards that can touch the Bend to My Will, like Mowgli. There's other ways of there's more ways to stop, like a Shift Clarabelle. So I think it's more fair. Yes, I have to rationalize it for myself in some type of way.
Exactly.
Because everyone who knows me, in the mirror, you're always looking to play Bend to My Will at a certain point. On Sunday, we did a lot of on Sunday we did a lot of testing. There's a lot of us in this area who are potentially going to play blue-green. And if you just get that card off, most of the time, the first one who hits the Bend to My Will usually wins the game. I'll send it over to you all to talk about the list, what changes potentially you would make. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, what do you got, Kyle?
I was just saying, I was just said, sorry, you copied Najee. That's why you haven't been the winner will. That's all I would left to that. Instead of trying to justify yourself. Sorry.
No, I mean, in practice, I do see why Bend to My Will is just a card that you kind of need to have in this deck. There are certain lines you can take where you can, like against red purple or against blurple, you can like mega ramp. You can be on 7 ink. They're on like 4 ink. They have 3 or 4 cards in hand. You hit the Bend to My Will. They have nothing. They're top decking, and then you just kind of win those games. Against dogs, it can be important. Maybe they played a 5-cost lady. They get their 2 1-drops back, but they can't play it next turn. You hit Bend to My Will. You just kind of take them off tempo. So yes, this is all a lot more rationalizing, but in playing the deck, it is one of your win conditions. That's also why this deck is playing 3 copies of John Silver and 4 copies of Basil. It's just stall. You want to stall your opponent for as long as you can to help dig for those outs. And then at a certain point in the late game, you have, 3 or 4 things on board and you're just able to quest out. So it doesn't matter that they got to 18 lore and you're at 0. This deck just has so many ways to like stall the board and, you win in 1 turn.
Yeah, I played against this deck, so I know what you're saying because I got to 18 and unfortunately,
Yep.
you got all the answers right at the right at the top of this. He was top decking and still got the answers. So yeah, I know it quite well. And yeah, it performs really well. And it does what you said, stall out the game to where you can control it, and then once you control it, it's over, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's green blue, right? It has some of the best, like it has the best high roll of any deck. Like if you get the 1 cost Clarabelle down, then you go 2/4. When you ramp on 2, Cindy on turn 3, shift Clarabelle, sing your welcome on turn 4. You probably just win the game at that point. Like the high roll is astronomical. And I think that's one of the reasons people are drawn to it, because you can't, like, the high roll feels good. And it's one of the things with the deck though that can feel so bad is that when you don't high roll, or if you don't see Clarabelle, it's rough, right? Like that's going to be a really rough game. And these new versions, so the last set, it was on the 12 Clarabelles, right? You ran the 4 1 drops, the 4 3 drops, and then the 4 of the big cow. But now without the 3 drops, you can afford to run, 7 dig options, right? The 4 visions, the 3 develops, which feels really good because ultimately the decks, it almost has to find Clarabelle at some point against most decks. Some you're just looking for Prince Philip, right? That's why the win rate's gone up so much against Amethyst Steel, because Prince Philip's just such a good deck or a good card, as well as Blurple. It's really good into. I'm a huge fan of Improvise though. I've said my piece on Bend to My Will. I think if you're not running it in green blue, you're asking to lose the mirror, like always. But Improvise, I think, again, just helps you win that Amethyst Steel matchup, because you save Improvise. Like all Amethyst Steel decks are running some number of Olafs now to counter your Malicious, Mean, and Scary. So now you run Improvise to maybe hit a giant Cobra, right? So they can't get that 2 lore, and so that feels really good. Unfortunately, you can't handle Doc, but you could You're Welcome Doc, You're Welcome Doc, or You're Welcome Olaf, I guess. But if anything, Improvise answers the giant Cobra, which feels nice, or Iago. But Shane, you played some green blue yesterday. How do you feel about it?
Look, man, there's just something nice about you hit that ramp, you hit that other ramp, you shift the Clarabelle in, sing the You're Welcome, then you just bend my will and you just hold your hand out, right? Handshake, let's
It's
move
bliss.
to the next game.
That's pure bliss.
Yeah.
Okay,
Beautiful
so
thing.
I'm gonna throw something random out there. It doesn't work, but I'm just gonna throw it out there because it's fun.
Uh-oh.
So there's another thing you can do, right? You can play Kristoff, right? So you do a ramp on turn 2, you play Kristoff, then you boost him for 1, then the next turn you quest with him, then you boost him again, then you Pleakley him, and now you're at 9 ink. And now you can, next turn after that, sing with Pleakley, MMS, and play straight up 9 costs on what's it called? Prince Philip, just straight out. You don't even need the little Prince Philip. But it will never work because Purple Steel will kill the
Kristoff.
Immediately will kill the Kristoff and you're done. But it is fun if you can do it.
So it does work. He did it to me on stream one time. So like high roll.
Well, that's high roll heaven, right? Like if you hit that, yeah, absolutely. But that's gonna happen. What, like 1 game out of like 50 that you play, you're gonna hit that exact.
No, because it honestly comes up a lot more than you think it would. And like with all this card draw with like the Sail the Azurite Sea and things like that, it comes up a lot more. But the fact that he only has 3 HP leaves them susceptible to getting taken out before you can do it. Especially if you're going second. It will not work if you go second.
So that is a 3 willpower. Okay. All right. 3 willpower. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am still learning this card game. My bad.
Yeah. We'll forgive you.
You've only been playing a year and a half.
Yeah, only a year and a half. Since after Ursula, I think is when I started playing.
Whoever my round 1 opponent is, Saturday at the DLC, I hope they try that out.
Yeah,
I concur. Yeah.
It works good in blue steel. That's what I used it in. And
Yeah.
you Mufasa afterwards, so you can get back cards that you're just ramped up and basically. That's
Are we doing too much?
Yeah. Well, the other thing I was doing was on the next turn after that, once you're at 9, you can ink for turn and play Mickey 10 cost Mickey. I do crazy things, and that's my style.
We're gonna talk about it this episode.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it this
That's-
episode. So
Okay. I'll get off of it now, but I just wanted to throw that weird funness in this blue green because it would be great.
Yeah.
Hey, and everyone's thankful for it now. All right, so they're all the more thankful you did. So, but yeah, no, I think green blue. It's gonna, in my opinion, I think the top 3 decks that are gonna be played at the DLC will be Amethyst Steel, Green Blue, and then probably Blurple. Like, I think will be the top 3. So in that order.
I think Dogs is gonna be.
You think
somewhere
so?
in the top. I think Dogs is going to be top 3. I think enough people have they have access to the same data that you pulled up with the win rate matrix. People talk, right? And there's been enough time that I think people can practice with the deck that it will be a lot more played. And I think the decks that will win are the decks that are going to target Dogs. And we're gonna. I bet you we're gonna see some spicy deck that targets Dogs that can still beat everything else, and that's gonna be the deck that is gonna maybe not win it all, but I think could be do very well long term. Like nobody was on Brainiac until it got played at a DLC last format, and now it's a viable deck that you can play.
And now just me is on Brainiac. Like I don't even know if Justin still plays Brainiac or Justice still plays Brainiac. So. But no, so I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think the one thing that will be holding Dogs back from being one of the most played decks is people don't like. From what I've seen in my limited time, Lorcana being my only TCG, people don't care for taking aggro to big events because they don't want to feel like they can't control the outcome when they lose in 5 minutes. And then they're like, well, my DLC's over now. So I don't know, though. Like,
yeah, I mean, Dogs isn't your typical aggro deck, though. Like, there's a very high skill cap in this deck.
Is. It is. And
exactly.
I think a lot of problem though is how many people are they've been practicing with it, right? On the resource they have to practice on. And they're just like, yeah, I'm just going to turn everything sideways because it works. And, but I think the players, they'll find that it's not the best way to play. I mean, how many times have we seen Royce play where he spends the first 3 turns challenging and then doesn't quest till turn 6, right? And so yeah, I think it's still a very high skill cap deck. Not that, aggro decks in general aren't, but I think that Dogs is definitely a high skill cap aggro deck. But yeah.
Most definitely. And there's 2 types, right? There's the Chromacon and there's the Circle of Life deck.
Yeah.
So there's 2 different types of decks that they're playing. So you don't know exactly what you're going to get until midway through. And then you're like, okay, I need to stop this now.
I'll tell you what. So green-purple Brainiac has a 0% win rate into Dogs. I have not lost a match into Circle of Life with green-purple Brainiac. So I will take green-purple Brainiac all day. I will take Circle of Life all day. They're just playing a lot of cards. I don't know. I think that deck's hot garbage. But that's my hot take for the video. So,
all right.
But with that being said,
Wow, this is awesome.
Kyle,
This is gonna
you
be the most controversial video ever. This is amazing for a second one. Yes.
Kyle, I've got your list up. So talk to us about this and why on earth you might run this at a DLC.
Okay. So this is targeting. So you're looking at your matrix, right?
Mhm.
You're targeting purple steel and red purple. This is what you're targeting. This is basically a control deck, but it's
Mhm.
probably the worst control deck there is. But it also can fight aggro. So it can get into fighting, amber steel and fight dogs. So it does have the way to fight dogs. You have to be careful with dogs though. Dogs is very you have Mowgli, which can target your items. And they have Ursula that can target your songs. So I've the first match when I played against Melissa. I didn't know how to play it. It was straight up. I took it to our Elsa event. Never played it before. Never play tested except for against Adrian, my son, and basically he was playing Blurple. So I didn't know really how to work against dogs. And immediately she was just tearing my hand apart with Ursula and Mowgli's. And so that first game I lost. And then the second game I immediately was inking my strengths. I didn't have any items in my hand at the time. Immediately was inking my strengths, and then I started playing my characters out and started moving around. But my biggest move for me was keeping a bell until I got my ingenious device. And when I got my ingenious device, I was able to play the ingenious device, play the bell, pop a character because she did not have Chromacon at the time, so it wouldn't pop back into my hand. So then it put me on a bell that can be able to swing into things. So and a lot of times you don't really want to put my cards back into my hand because they do other things. Tinker Bells was like the biggest winner of that event of that part. Tinkerbell just kept putting damage by playing the Tinkerbell out and basically wiped the whole board. And once I did that, I was able to take the victory. Um, One thing that I learned, I inked when I shouldn't have, was the ink amplifier. Dogs like to draw cards, and so if you can play the ink amplifier, every time they search for their cards that they're discarding and drawing and discarding, you get to get a free card to your inkwell. So that's one thing that is really good, especially against genies. So that's what I'm targeting with the purple decks, the amethyst decks. Ink amplifier allows you to get up, right? And the new cards that I added in was Kita um, and Baymax. Those are the two main ones. I used to have and Pluto, the two costs. Um, the Baymax is questionable because I don't know if I want Pluto, the Steel Champion, in there or not for item removal. But I did have noticed more with the purple decks that there's damage left over on my characters a lot when challenging. So I kind of want to figure out a win condition, right? That's one thing that was having a hard time with was having a win condition because most of the time beforehand, I was just questing with Tamatoas, bringing out items for free and using Vincenzo to close out the game. And that's a little hard to do sometimes because you're like literally go through half your deck, controlling the board the whole time, and then finally you win because you finally found the key pieces you need. So I kind of wanted to have Baymax in there so I can heal and then kind of keep healing my guys and then gaining lore while I'm doing it, and keeping my guys out there as much as possible. So that's why I'm thinking Baymax is the right choice, but I'm still testing that and figuring that out. The Pluto is trying to bring back items. I used to have Nick Wilde in for the detective item. So I was reading Pluto's text, and if I make him a detective, I can bring back one of my items to my hand. So for one cost, basically, I can go ahead and start bringing items back to my hand with this Pluto. Um, and the star of the show is actually when you start with Monsieur de la Rook, the one drop, and also the Queen. So if you're going second, you'll be able to see what they're trying to do. And say if they drop a Captain Hook or something, or a Rafiki, or Basil, you can go ahead and throw your Robot Queen out there. Then your second play is going to be De La Rook. So now you're paying 1 to deal 2 damage to one of their characters. You drop that. Then after that, say they put a Calhoun out or Diablo, then you play your Genius Device, you quest a De La Rook, you blow it up, then you get to kill their Calhoun or their Diablo. So it's really it's like really very specific to targeting them.
Mm.
And I just see Shane's face like wanting to like tear this list apart. But the Kita, let me go to Kita real quick, and then you can go ahead and tear me apart. But so Kita is important because I'm having trouble with keeping my four drop. I was having uh Scrooge McDuck in there to find the items and to do that. He missed so many times, so I just got sick of him. And then Keto's gonna allow me to get to my 6 drops. So I was like, I think that's way more smarter. Plus, I just played on Fight Club, and I did something where I turned Kita. I moved a card so I could see Pluto at the top of my deck, right? I already had my detective badge out, so I played my uh, ingenious device. I popped my ingenious device, blew up their guy, pulled the Pluto into my hand, and then I was able to have it for. Did I have enough? No, I didn't have enough. But on the next turn, I was able to play Pluto and then detective after that, and then pull the genius device. I understand it is a lot of work.
Yeah,
This
hey.
deck,
No,
but
yeah.
it's amazing. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it is fun to play once you
I've
figure
seen
it
you
out.
play it. I've seen you play it. Like,
It's so much
yeah, I
fun.
mean, yeah.
Hey,
It is very hard to pilot, but it's very fun.
Yeah.
So I casted you playing a list similar to this at the Elsa event. You were against Blurple, and we're watching it, and I think everything that I said, it just went a different route, but we just sat there watching, and we're like, there's no way he ever beats Blurple with this deck, and then it ended up going 2-1 with you on the draw, and like the amount of times that I saw you play Ingenious Device to blow up characters was wild. Is it a deck that I would ever have the courage to play? Oh God, no. I would never have the courage to play this deck, maybe even at locals. Like I just like it, but I get it, right? I think one of the biggest things that I look at it is like, what is the win con? But the win con's kind of the same as like, I guess normal blue steel, 2/4/6 blue steel is hopefully you blow up enough stuff that eventually your characters stick around. And that's what you did against Blurple, is eventually after you played Ingenious Device like 19 times, they had no characters left to blow up your Vincenzo. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen the Pluto in anything other than, I don't even know if I paid attention to when I put it in my master playset. Like it's, I didn't know what it did until you said it. So, and I talk about this in my videos all the time. Like people don't know how to respond to spice, and it can do weird, wild things and surprise people. So, but I don't know, Shane, what do you think?
Well, I can tell you how to respond to the spice. You just beat them, right? you just win. No, I mean, look, God,
You don't like the abomination?
I'm very concerned about the first couple of turns with this deck, because like your first 3 turns, you're almost doing nothing except. Most of the time, when you're doing nothing those first 3 turns, you're ramping to something. This deck's not ramping to anything in the first 3 turns. It's putting, hopefully, Ink Amplifier down, and then hoping your opponent doesn't read the card. And if they got a background for certain card games where players don't read, then you might get there. But like,
Okay, I understand. Okay, so I think that's where there's other things you could do with Bell, and I think that's where I lost you. So Bell can blow up these items, and you can play her. And I actually tried to aggro on the draw against Jason, and almost worked until
Yeah.
he was able to get his card draw.
Okay.
And so there is that option too, but
So
the
what if you
resource
don't
battle
open
comes.
Bell?
You were open with De La Rue, and he's a draw engine.
Oh well, never mind. Problem solved.
Yeah, open with De La Rue, and he's a draw engine. And then, like, say, Ink Runner's a draw card, right? And if you need to banish it, you banish it, and then you can play a Bell or De La Rue. So it's
I'll
pretty,
let you cook.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty
Hey.
consistent.
You know,
It
I see
doesn't.
the vision. I do
Yeah.
see the vision.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
always see the vision with me, man. I
I
appreciate
always
it.
do.
You make
Yeah.
me feel better. You make me feel better, but I know you're just saying it to make me feel better. I
No, I
understand.
mean, I see what it's trying to do. Would I play it? Absolutely never. But, you know, like, that's.
I
I
guess I'm
see
a
your
little
vision.
bad.
No,
Yeah,
Just a
like
I see
little
your
bad.
vision.
so no, here's the thing, Kyle. Like we're not like here's the thing, right? The OTK purple yellow deck was a garbage meme for
Mhm.
3
Yeah.
sets until Zan
Yeah.
took it to CCS and won CCS. And all of a sudden, still people look at it as a meme, but now it's a deck that they have to respect. Like, so if I'm playing and I'm a blue deck and my opponent throws down a lantern and plays amethyst cards, I can no longer play my Hades Infernal Schemer until I can figure out if he's the ramp deck or the tempo deck. But at that point,
Yep.
there's a good chance the tempo deck has already gained too much tempo by me holding on to the Hades Infernal Schemer. So Spice is always going to get hate. Like, so if you're going to play Spice, you got to have a thick skin because people they don't see it, right? But you do. So don't yeah, we're not hating because this deck is awful. We're if any
Number one hater.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's
And
just
then,
Shane.
like, you can also, like, with the reason why I'm putting Kita in too is like I really need the 4 cost to stick around. I've realized that with this deck.
Yeah.
I even got rid of Thunderbolt. I was running Thunderbolt before. My hand was getting jammed up with too many unequables, so I had to get rid of something, and unfortunately, Thunderbolt had to go. And I want to put one more Baron the Rising into this deck, just so that I can try to fight the control meta. Like they're blue green and Blurple, because Kita would be able to sing with Bell or Lexington to get me the cards that I need and to drop them down on turn 5.
Yeah, hey man, like I said, we got to see the deck cook, right? We got to see the deck cook against Blurple in a world where I never thought this deck could beat Blurple. And you did. And I think it was game 3, you just happened to brick on a bunch of Thunderbolts and that really hurts you. And now you've cut them, right? So it's hey man, like I have nothing but respect for Spice. And I think you went 3-2, didn't you? Overall?
Yeah,
Yeah,
3-2 in that battle. I believe it was Dogs. Then after that, I played Blue Steel, which I lost, but Theo just didn't want to play me again.
yeah.
And then I played a Blurple deck and I beat them. And then I played Jason, and then I lost to him. And then I played a Simba yellow blue deck, and that was fun.
Yeah.
But I was able to win.
Nice,
Yeah,
man.
I mean, I in all seriousness, right? This deck's trying to do what a similar deck did in the past when we had a great card called Paul Sickle, right? In that deck, it obviously wanted to ramp, it wanted to get the Fishbone Crow Quill, right? And then occasionally you had the Nutty line where you dropped the Bell down early and that helped you win against the aggro decks. The biggest thing you need to, I think that needs to be figured out with something like this is what's happening the first 3 turns, because your best plays all look like outside of putting a Bell down, right, which kind of going -1 because that card doesn't replace itself on turn 1. What do your first 3 turns look like, and can you shore that up more? Because yeah, once you get into the mid game, you can start messing around, doing some crazy things, and then cool things happen there. But getting off the ground is just where I see this deck struggling.
Hey, and that's like, it's pretty wild. Like, so I'd like to see, and I think that's the big thing, right? Like Monsieur. We saw that put in work against Blurple. I think Monsieur drew you 3 cards, blew up, an ingenious device and stuff. So it would, but yeah, I'm kind of, that's what I'd be curious about. And you're targeting. I could see where it could definitely target red purple because a lot of their stuff is 3 health. So ingenious device being able to cycle that. But against dogs, how has things been with recent changes where dogs is just going to go so fast? If you don't see like Bell to blow up ingenious device.
The only problem with dogs is Daisy. I mean,
Yeah.
if they
Okay.
run Lady first, then I'm gonna win. So if they run Daisy, then it's a little bit harder for me to deal with it. But there's always I go if I see a Daisy, I generally want to do Robot Queen. Then second turn, Rook to blow up the Robot Queen, deal 2 damage um to the Daisy, and then on turn 3, I want to put the Genius Device out, quest with Rook, blow it up, draw a card, and then kill the Daisy, and then from there he probably has 2 or 3 more characters out there, right? Um, and from there, I'm looking to trying to establish a Lexington, um, or a Bell again to get out there and try to fight them off. And I really want to get to Tinkerbell because Tinkerbell is what's gonna put in all the work,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the Genius Device because generally like they coincide together because Tinkerbell, if you can't kill something with 4 HP, generally Tinkerbell does the 1, and then you got the Genius Device to finish it off. It's generally how it works. And then with there's a lot of mathing with this, and you
Yeah.
can't just make your decisions right away.
Yeah.
So you can't just jump into it and be like, I'm gonna do this. You have to like really think out every single move before you make it, because it will punish you if you don't do it properly.
Yeah, I mean that's, again, and when you play a spicy deck, you don't get the benefit of seeing other people pilot it and learning from their mistakes, right? Like the only mistakes you get to learn from are your own. So again, you have to be a brave soul to do it. And we saw it win at the Elsa event. We saw it get the matches and everything. So I'm excited to see how you do. I know there's a couple other decks that you're looking at to possibly run for the DLC. This is just the one you've had the most reps into, and like I'm excited, man. I think it's gonna be. I'm excited to hear how you do and everything. And the thing that I am most excited about though is that, like, for me, Green Purple Brainiac's my favorite deck of the set, hands down, no questions asked. Favorite deck of the set. It's what I enjoy playing, and there's a chance that if I was going to the DLC, I wouldn't play it. Meanwhile, Kyle, you're building your own thing, and it's your own thing, and it's your favorite deck to play, and you're gonna have fun doing it. Like,
Yeah.
and sometimes I think that we forget that it's okay to have fun. Like, so
And still be competitive. I'm still
yeah.
competitive.
Oh yeah,
But
like I'm not saying you're not. So
100%. But I'm still gonna be competitive, and I want
yeah,
to win, right?
yeah,
But I want to have fun doing it. Like I
yeah.
don't want to just be mindless. I don't want to, just. I want interaction. Like I mean, I think this is why this whole deck got created was I stopped like the standoffs were just like making me so irritated. Like I can't interact with you on
Mm-hmm.
all the other blue still lists. Like I really can't interact with your board, and especially because I was playing detectives at the time, I was getting so like frustrated that the way I get you to turn sideways is play a bodyguard and quest with my guys, so now you can swing into me.
Mm-hmm.
And I really didn't like that feeling. I want to be the one that engaged first. I want to be the one
Yeah.
that put on the attack. I want to, do something to fight back. And especially when Adrian changed into from red steel to blurple, it became very frustrating for me. And this deck is hard to play against blurple, no doubt about it. But Adrian prepared me very well because that's all he was playing, and I learned all the lines. I learned exactly what a Blurple wants to do, and he learned how to play against this deck, so he knows exactly what to do to not lose to this deck. But Hats off to him because he learned it and he's good and he's a better player than me. But he's just young and going too fast. So
Yeah.
once he gets to a point where he's slowing down on his thought process and not going, he's going to be a really good competitor. I really think that he's going to start nailing down these set champs and give people a run for their money.
Yeah. Well,
So we'll see.
yeah, we'll see, man. It's gonna be fun.
I got a great sparring partner, so
There you go.
and I get to do it every day almost. So like every day I have live action. It just for the longest time it's been against Red Steel for almost a year now. So I'm kind of glad he's playing a different deck for right now, just to get off the Red Steel shenanigans because that was just so hard to play against. It's the same thing every single time, and it's if he gets the cards and the shenanigans, just the power line and singing in and doing all this craziness and oh my god! But it was a super high roll. It was like you can see I have nightmares about it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Well-
I'm just glad he's off of it right now.
I think talking about nightmares is a good time to turn it over to our boy Shane because he's kind of having.
Yeah.
I think nightmares about this meta, right? I think is what has led you to not have a list for today. So let's talk about it, Shane. Why no list?
Well, I hate everything. Like, yeah. The problem is, I hate as a competitive player. I hate metas like this that are so wide open. The last meta was easy. It was like, what do you want to lose to? I want to lose to dogs. Okay, well, dogs isn't super representative, until you play Dan in the last round and he crushes your dreams, right? Shout out to him getting that golden Mickey. But like, I hate everything, right? And you just lose to too much with every deck you play. And on top of it, I hate all of them, right? Like, I can play Purple Steel, but who wants to play that mirror, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, throw a Strength in, throw Thunderbolt in here, right? You just do all kinds of cool things. I ain't seeing it, right? Last format, there was this restaurant owner, right?
Hey,
She had a
Pat.
nice restaurant, served everything on the menu, right? 5 Michelin stars on there. You turn stuff sideways. You finished in 15 minutes. You head out to the smoking area. Don't smoke, kids, right? But you headed out to the smoking area. You got a minute to recoup. Then you go in, you play your next round. You finish in 15 minutes, right? And you recycle all that. And then you get to the end of the day and you're like, that was great, right? You serve lunch. Ain't no lunch being served anymore. The honest answer is I really wish I could play green-purple control, right? But if I play green-purple control, that aggro list sucks. I don't play it, guys. It's terrible. But green-purple control, you lose to every fair deck.
Mm-hmm.
If I was gonna play blue all day, look, let the Webby cook.
Man.
All right, I'm mulliganing that thing. I don't care what the other 5 cards are. Give me Shift Webby, right? Red purple. I don't know, man. I disagree. That deck sucks, right? It just flat out loses to stuff. I could see where it can win, but like, Blue steel. There's 2 types of blue steel. There's ramp blue steel, which is terrible, right? Used to be good about a month ago, right? And then there's this Kiwi version. It wants to be a restaurant owner. I don't know if it is, right? You have 8 bodyguards that are in there supposed to keep things safe. But if you deal with that bodyguard, it just kind of dies. Yeah, you got some ward, does some cute things, but how good is it consistently? I don't know. It's done 1 tournament. We haven't had too many big ones in between with Christmas and now New Year's coming up. So, like, I think the jury's out there. It's interesting. Dogs, look, I have watched Royce play 500 plus games of dogs. All right. My brain's tiny. All right. I've been turning cards sideways for the last 3 months. I tried to play this dog deck. He swears by Pluto. I don't know.
I love Pluto.
But
I also
You
love
just can't
Pluto.
do it, right? So, like, you got this dogs deck out there, 58% win rate. Put it back up on the screen, Cody. It's right there, 58%. That's almost 60%. That's
Yeah.
really good. And guess what? Purple steel, not too bad. Red purple, that's it struggles against it a little bit. It really does. The problem is, how many people are you going to actually run into at the DLC going to play red purple? I'm just not smart enough to play this deck, or I'd play it. Play dogs, guys, if you know how to play it. If you don't, well, you're like me and cooked, right? Green blue, I got banned from playing that deck a few months ago. Um, it was terrible. Blurple, thinking about playing Blurple. I want to play Blurple. I can just lose to dogs and it be okay. But man, I'm going to play a lot of 50-minute matches if I have to play Blurple, right? The nice thing about the aggro decks are I never have to worry about going into time. I don't have to think it through. I mean, you do some thinking, but I don't have to like go into the tank. All these other decks, purple steel, easiest deck in the format. Now you got to go into the tank, right? Everything's a 50-50 matchup, and you have to play things perfectly in order to maximize your lines in those matchups and make sure that you get all the little percentage points that are going to carry you to winning the game. That's tough. That's a lot of thinking throughout the day, right? I need nicotine. I run off of nicotine and Monster Energy drinks. It ain't healthy, but you know what? It's what we got. So, like, I don't know what I'm playing. I've played a little bit of everything. I've hated a lot of bit of everything. So, I got 2 weeks to figure it out.
I think what I'll say about this meta is it's a lot about you win a lot of games and a lot of matches on the margins, right? Like, was your opponent's, one or two tech cards, were they just, better? Did they read the room better than you did, right? Like, to Shane's point, like a lot of decks this format, you have to take, 30 seconds to decide, all right, am I inking this or this? Because if I ink card X, right, and they play card Y, well, I should have inked the other thing and played the other thing, right? So it's just those, card by card decisions, winning or losing on the margins, where, like last format, like if you're playing Amber Steel aggro, you play out your Tiana, then you just go fast, you turn everything sideways, you win or lose in 15 minutes. Whereas there's not really a deck this format that does anything similar. Like dogs can be that, Kiwi can be that, but all those lists are they're very pliable, right? You can go fast, or you have your cards that you go into the late game with, but you have to decide at a certain point in the game, do I have to go fast, or can I take it a little slower? And like a lot of these matches are going to go at least 30, 40 minutes, a lot of them to time, like a lot of these mirrors. So I agree. It can be a frustrating meta, but very rewarding in the same way if you can read the room.
Yeah, and I want to get you on a blue steel list. We'll see. I'll send some stuff to you.
Oh my!
I'm gonna get everyone's gonna be blue steel when I'm done. Everyone's gonna be blue steel.
Oh no!
We'll see what happens. But I'm probably not gonna run Abomination. The problem with Abomination right now, like I'm at 67 or 65 cards right now. I did it as a meme. I really played with 67 so I can do 67. But but I went down to 60 cards and it started failing really bad. So I'm having to figure this out, and I have 2 weeks to figure it out. So I'm probably not going to figure it out in time. So I'm most likely going to have to move on from this deck. But if I could, I would. But we'll see.
Yeah,
don't let your dreams be dreams.
Yeah, it's Disney, right? It's all about dreams. But I don't know. It's it is a weird meta, right? It's so odd compared to what we've had in the past, where it was like you play red blue and you're pretty set on doing well. Red blue was, with no questions asked, the best deck in the format for like 5 sets in a row. and we just don't have that. And now it's turned into this meta where it's like, what deck am I going to play, and what deck am I comfortable auto losing to for almost everything except for purple steel, and that can just feel bad, right? Like, so it has been weird. It is a weird meta. I definitely agree, and one that, you know, I think a lot of people haven't experienced before. I certainly haven't. Again, this is my first TCG, so I don't know what it's like, and, you know, I don't know what different metas are like, right? Because I've only experienced what I've seen in Lorcana since set 4, and since set 4, it's been like, it was red, purple, red, blue, green, steel for the longest time, right? So, you know, all praise red, purple, I guess. No, don't all praise red, purple. Screw that deck. But yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting. And that's where also, though, it leads to an interesting thing of, like, I remember, I think it was DLC Vegas or DLC Seattle. There was a team, I think it was Team Lux. They showed up with a red, purple burn deck. And all the 3 people on the team ran the same 60 cards. And it auto lost. It had like a 0% win rate into Steel Song, but it beat red, blue almost every time. And it was okay into green, steel. So 2 of them played like nothing but Steel Song. So their day ended really quickly, but one of them didn't see Steel Song until his top 8 match. And then he just conceded. He didn't even play it because he got the Golden Mickey, right? So, and you can't really do that this set though, right? Where the meta is just so open, right? And so it is weird. I think it is, and that's, who knows, maybe that's what does that allow for spice? Does that take away from surprise spice? I don't really know. I mean, Shane, you've been playing TCGs. Yeah. Kyle, you
well, I was
too.
just gonna say quickly, I think that does encourage spice, because if everything's 50-50 and you can build a deck like Kyle has, right, that supposedly you can win against this or that, then all of a sudden your spicy deck is not spicy anymore. That deck is, you know, you're gonna be on your way to a Golden Mickey. So like Shane can talk about it more, because I think he's played competitive TCGs for a little bit longer than I have. But in other card games, like, you know, there are metas like this where it rewards ingenuity and it rewards very strong testing and very strong testing teams. And if you can find a deck that, you know, it could very well be Kiwi. Actually, it could be that, you know, you just find that deck that doesn't necessarily win on the margins, or it expands upon the margins, and now all of a sudden you have a 55-60% win rate into a lot of different decks, and all of a sudden you have a Golden Mickey and you're on your way to nationals, right? So I think the meta rewards that style of deck building.
Yeah, I mean, doing well in a big event, you need 3 things, right? And kind of an equation, right? One, you got to prepare, right? If you prepare enough, hopefully you end up being skilled enough, right? And when you have preparation and skill, that's luck, right? When you get to the event, and a lot of times you don't just get lucky, because like, you know, drew a lucky top deck or something like that. Like, that's not always the end all be all. That's the, you know, the spicy moment that you see on camera, right? That you're like, oh yeah, this flipped the whole thing around. But all your decisions and preparations leading up to that moment put you in position to be able to get lucky in an event, right? And you're gonna have some things go your way. You're gonna have to get paired against matchups that are favorable to you, and sometimes you're gonna get paired against a matchup that's not favorable, and you need them to like open bad or something like that, right? Yeah. And you need stuff to go your way. You know, the last event, I didn't want to play mirrors, right? Because I didn't tech anything for it. My plan against the mirror was win the dive roll. I did that the first 2 rounds, right? And I beat the mirror. I also didn't want to necessarily see blue-green too much, because that Turbo Under the Sea was great. Well, they never got it and died. right? And that started my 8-0 run on day one. Um, so like you need a lot of things to go your way in these events, and even if you have like the spiciest stuff, yeah, none of it matters. If you get just paired up against your most terrible nightmare matchups. Um, but the ones that do make it, and you see a little bit of innovation and stuff like that, yeah, some of those decisions help you win an event. So yeah, it's all about preparing for the event and then understanding why you're playing the cards, how it helps you in those matchups, and what edges you're looking to get. Then you have the opportunity to get lucky and spike an event.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Marines, shout out to them, right? But the Marines have a saying. It's called the 7 Ps. It's prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. So it's hey, and then just add in a little bit of luck, right? But I think I heard that when I first started Lorcana. I think there was a caster that said it. Whoever it was, I don't remember. It was in an EU event, but they talked about the same thing you were saying, Shane. That it like the luck for a lot of the time, the luck is only it only happens to be effective luck there because they were planning or playing towards that to make that luck possible, right? You have to play to what top decks you can get and some, and then there's just true luck of saying, okay, round one, if I dodge the aggro deck, odds are they get beat out, right? Or like I just got to dodge the casual on round one that has this weird wild thing, otherwise I'm screwed, right? And so there's true luck, right? But then there's other luck of like, oh, the only reason they won is they top decked that card. Well, is it, or did they set up things that so it just so happened to be that they top decked that card and everything was set up so they could still win, right? So because how many times have we seen purple steel players top deck a dock and they're not able to win, right? But so yeah, there's wild things like that, right? So
Or they set up a Donald Duck so they can get an MSS into a Prince Philip combo. That's pretty nice.
yeah, I mean, there's tons of things, right? Like
Personal experience.
I
It happened to me.
I've used Been to My Will against a green blue player, and then they top deck Clarabelle, and it's like, well, let's play this game again, right? Or 2 weeks ago, I was playing Theo. He played blue steel. He plays a headless horseman. Only like his only card in his hand that he has left plays headless horseman. I have 7 cards in hand, and he takes out my 2 Prince Philips that would have won me the game. But he had to play to that point to get to the lore where that headless horseman was going to win him the game if it stuck around. So I agree, and I know we've gone off in a weird kind of way. We started with Shane talking about what he's going to play this set, and is Spice is the way to go. But yeah, I don't know. This is it's going to be an interesting DLC for sure. I think we know what we're going to see a lot of, but I think I think it's going to be a good one for the casters because those casters are going to be able to go out and find something, kind of spicy that will surely be there, or maybe a cool tech option, or they're going to have lots of things to choose from. So hopefully we don't see what we saw in like Milwaukee, where it was like purple steel versus purple steel for 7 rounds in a row. So but
Mirror matches.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to see mirror matches all day long.
Yep.
Do not want to see that.
I'm going to need something exciting to watch while I'm running a marathon. So I'm counting on you guys. So but yeah, I don't know. Those were the things that I wanted to talk about. I don't know if you guys had any final remarks. We heard from Kyle, best deck in the format's red purple. Paul, what do you think? What's the best deck in the format?
Oh, wow. I do think the best deck in the format is dogs, with the caveat that if you put in the work, like the man Shane is pointing at his glasses and his eyes, that's Royce, who has the 1,000 matches this format on it. Yeah, like that probably is the best deck, but the level of preparation that's not for everyone. Like, quite frankly, there's a lot of people who play Lorcana who have families, time commitments, and that's everything in life, right? But specifically in this game, I think, finding a deck that you're comfortable with is like half the battle or more,
Mhm.
right? You don't have 1,000 hours all the time to put into dogs, right? Even if that might be the best deck in format. So I think while dogs is the best deck in format, to me, it's also the one that has maybe the most prepared players. If that's a hot take, that could be a little bit of a hot take, but I think a lot of decks this format, because it is kind of so wide open. The key word of this video is probably just preparation, knowing the meta, and you can be successful.
Yeah.
Or you play ingenious device and you pop it with your bell 4 times in a game, and then you get the
It's
Pluto
fun.
thing, and then you win a
Yeah.
DLC.
Yeah, it's really fun. I just got to get it to 60 cards. That's the problem. To make it more consistent. But I mean, it's really fun.
All right, Shane. We'll end with you. What's the best deck in the format? Dogs.
Dogs.
All right. All right. Well, did Royce get a ticket? Is he able to go? He's a working man, so
No.
okay.
He can't go.
Yeah.
He'll
Speaking
be
of tickets,
away.
Yep. Yeah.
I just want to thank you, Shane, for helping me get competitive, and Adrian a competitive badge. I just didn't have
Absolutely.
time to get it myself, and I appreciate you helping me get that.
Yep.
So I'll be able to compete this time, not just do the side events, because that's why I was playing these funny decks, because I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna go have fun because I'm gonna play on the side event, and just do these side events. I want to do something fun, and then when I went and played at the Elsa event, the deck was performing and it was doing well, and I was like, wait a minute, I might have something here. um I just need to figure out how to change some certain things, because like I had Nick Wiles that were enchanted, so I wanted to put them in, and then I had a aerial Sonic Warrior that was enchanted, so I wanted to put that in. So it was like a lot of my choices weren't because of tech, it was mostly because I just wanted to put the card in there because it looked pretty. Like like
Hey.
that was it. But I do want to appreciate you helping me out. I just want to thank you formally and foremost. Thank you.
There we go.
All good.
Yeah, man. No, well, guys, I appreciate you coming on. This was again a long one. I hope you guys don't mind. We ran 90 minutes for this one. So, but talking DLC, man, that's what everyone's excited about. So, yeah, I'm excited to see you guys on stream. Any last words, gentlemen?
Shane's gonna win it all.
Woof woof.
Shane's definitely
We'll
getting
see.
Golden Mickey this time. I'm
We'll see.
sure of it. I'm sure of it. He's gonna get that Golden Mickey and bring it home. I'm hoping to get top 64. That's my goal. If I achieve that, then I'm happy.
All right. Anything for you, Shane?
Look, I'm gonna try my best and see if we can get it run back.
All right. And Paul sticking with Woof Woof.
Woof woof, and prepare, go out, and just ultimately we're all gonna have a really good time in Richmond. And that's in life. It's so short. Just you focus on winning. Winning is fun, but also have fun, because fun is fun.
There you go, guys. That's your
Put
philosophy
that on
to
a
leave
shirt.
with.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, sweet. Hey, as always, guys, thanks for coming on. Episode 2, I think it was a banger. I think it was a good one. I don't know what episode 3 will be, but we'll figure something out. But just all Royce.
We're all a little mad here, so we just got to go with it.
Sweet. Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, as always, we're going to end it here. You can wave at the cameras, and everybody else, stay happy and healthy. We'll see you around, all right?